podcast called Jellison Podcast.
He probably doesn't remember this at all.
Yeah, we work together. It's easy.
This is kind of real. I pull shit.
And so it's really cool to get to be a part of that.
Hey, you know how it is, though. Hey, when
you now tune into the biggest ever.
We're not here just to take part. We're here to take over.
I don't remember that. That's crazy.
What's up, everyone? We're back with episode 124 of the Just Podcast. And joining me all the way from Japan, very special guest, Mr. Isaac Copeland. Isaac, how are you?
Doing good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for doing this. I know the season just started for you guys over there fairly recently. So how's the season been started?
It's been pretty bad for us to start. Learning experience for us. We're a new team, a lot of young guys on the team compared to other teams in the league. But so we started off pretty slow, but I think we have a lot of talent, and our play style is different than a lot of the teams over here. So I think we're starting to turn that corner, and I think we're about to make some noise the rest of the year. So I'm very excited.
Mm-hmm. And I know this is your first year over in Japan. How different is it in terms of just like the playing style actually on the court?
It's very different. I guess like when you look at the bigs over here, like usually the imports are like, the American players, they're usually bigger guys, maybe not as fast as compared to America as athletic, but very strong guys. And like the guards are small but really fast. So, over in the States, we have a mixture of everything, a lot of in-between guys, 6'5" guys playing, every position, stuff like that. So it's just a different brand of basketball over here. But I think our team is kind of pushing the envelope a little bit, and I think that's why we're going to make some noise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is weird to see this whole like positionless basketball. That wave coming in. I'm a Purdue guy, so the other day we had Brandon Newman and Ethan Morton, who are both 6'5", playing the 4.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Purdue we're known for our bigs, so we had Edie and Williams as our traditional post players, but it is weird to see. Not necessarily weird, but interesting to see like how you guys play in Japan and how you guys play in the G League or the NBA or Big Ten, Big East. Wherever you play. When you in all these different stops that you've been on, this far in your career, how real is it for all these like different brands of basketball, quote unquote?
How real is it? Like,
like how different is like the Big East from the Big Ten and so on?
Okay. It's definitely a difference wherever you go. Like I remember when I was transferring, a lot of people would tell me to go to the Pac-12 because they felt like I could play good in a more open style game. Like, Pac-12 has a reputation for like no defense, like it's gonna go score, and West Coast basketball. And so I think no matter where you go, it's a different style of basketball because like when you look at the Big Ten, it's kind of a more rugged league, a lot of big guys, crashing the boards, all that stuff. Like that's more the style of basketball in the Big Ten. But I think it's very real, like you said. No matter where you go, it's a different brand of basketball, and you kind of have to adapt.
Mm-hmm. And then in overseas, you guys do a great job of kind of adapting to wherever you guys go. But you can go around the world and see all these just killer leagues.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking the other day. It was like, you go to the Euro League, Japan, China, U.S. They even have a really good league in Puerto Rico. Like, I believe Michael Beasley's down there playing right now. And then, Argentina, Australia. You can go to any continent in the world and hoop, and there's great leagues there.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that people kind of don't know until it's their time to make the decision. I know I didn't, originally in college, I was like, I'm never going to go overseas. I'm never going to do this and the third. And then, life happens. So then you have to figure out like, okay, am I done playing basketball? And the answer is no. Like there's a lot of great opportunities over here, a lot of good players, a lot of money to be made, and you get to see the world. So I think it's a great opportunity.
Do you think that overseas guys are disrespected? like for you, you said, I'm never going overseas, but then obviously time comes and you're going to make that decision. Do you think that overseas guys are disrespected in that way?
That's a great question. I think kind of like the general like thought going overseas is like you are not good enough to make it to the NBA, so you have to go over here. And I think that's completely wrong. I think there's a lot of good people that are over here. I mean, things just kind of happen that way. And that's why you see some people come over here for a couple years, 8 years, whatever, and they still make their way back to the NBA. But I think it's just another opportunity for people that they have to take advantage of. So I do think they're disrespecting in that sense that like, it's almost like saying like you're a failure. So like, you got to go over here and then, that's the only option you have, when really like this is just another, great opportunity for you to take advantage of.
100%. And I mean, you look at some of the guys that have played overseas and then went back to the league, like off the top of my head, like J.R. Smith back in 2012, he was playing in China before he signed with the Knicks. Sam Decker recently played in I think, Turkey, and then he was back with the Raptors and he got cut, unfortunately. Because I had him on the podcast. He's one of my favorites. But I mean, like Mike James. I mean, you can go up and down the list of guys that are NBA players that played overseas as well.
Yeah, right. That's very true. So yeah, I think people are overseas are disrespected. I will say like it is a different, level of basketball. NBA is definitely the best basketball in the world, but a lot of people over here are very good no matter what country you go to. So you can't just come over here and just think it's a cakewalk. You'll come out and get embarrassed. So you have to respect them.
100%. I mean, is there anything that can be done to kind of fix that narrative against the overseas guys?
I'm not sure, honestly. I think just the more people see, like, there's a lot of Instagram pages out here, like Swiss Cultures, Overseas Fits, Next Professional. I forgot what it's called, but they follow me and we chatted up a little bit. But there's a lot of different pages kind of trying to make basketball over here just more accessible to everybody else. Because I think the biggest thing is like, before you come over here, you don't really know what it looks like. You don't know what to expect. You've never seen it before. And then once you get overseas, you're like, oh, okay, this is what it is. Like, you get to see the competition and stuff like that. So I think the earlier people get to see how good the basketball is overseas, it can kind of change the narrative a little bit and attract more people to come overseas when the opportunity comes.
And I mean, that's what I had down in my notes. I mean, I follow Overseas Fits, Swiss Cultures, and I think it's Next Overseas Prospect.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, because I follow them and him as well, and we chat from time to time. But I mean, all of those pages are super dope because I follow them, and I mean, it gives me inspiration for guys asked to come on the podcast and things like that. But it is really cool because I mean, those accounts are giving you guys that platform so you can, I mean, it's like opening up the eyes for the casual fan maybe that might not have looked overseas or followed you guys or checked out the games or anything like that. It gives them and kind of an inside look on you guys. It
definitely does. Like, I think the coolest thing is like the other day, my boy LJ, he had 52 and over here in Japan. And a lot of people back home know who he is and all that stuff. But I kind of feel like after he left college, it kind of like his name got lost in the sauce a little bit. He's still a very good player. I mean, you can't just go anywhere and just have 52 points. So I think seeing him on the Swiss Cultures page is really cool. And just, because they're primarily an NBA platform that they post NBA workouts, stuff like that. But then boom, you see somebody in Japan have 52, like, oh man, who is this? Oh, I remember him. It's really cool. Look at how it looks over there. And like, just kind of like putting guys over here on the same platform as NBA guys is like kind of game changing. It's a nice thing to do.
And that's one of my favorite things too is, I mean, college basketball is probably my favorite sport, I guess, because I differentiate college basketball and the NBA. I mean, you can go on any team and you're gonna find just complete studs from college, and you check in on how they're doing, and they're averaging like 25 points a game over in Argentina or wherever it is.
Yeah, that is true. Very true. A lot of killers out here, man.
I mean, for the overseas lifestyle, I mean, you're fairly new to it. This is your second year, I believe.
No, actually, it's my first year. So, so this is what happened. The COVID year, I was gonna go play in Greece for a pretty good team out in Greece, and my boy Glenn played for the year before me, and he was like, "You should go. It's nice, good opportunity." So I'm about to leave to go over there in like maybe a week or two, And then like I guess they like lost some of like the little preseason games before I got there. And they're like, we need you to play like 100% right away. And I was like, no, I don't feel like I'm at that point. I want to get like some time to train a little bit. And after that, they was like, oh yeah, you can't come then. So I never went to Greece. And that's one thing I think is pretty accurate about overseas. Like you never know, like each situation is different. Thankfully here in Japan, they're very professional, upfront, pay on time. All those myths about not getting paid and all that stuff does not exist here in Japan. Like they take good care of you here in Japan. But I know in Europe, in some countries, it's a little different. I mean, what they did was the right decision. I mean, it was a business move, and I respect it. But like, yeah, I just wanted to clear that up because a lot of people asked me like before I got out here, hey, I see you played in Greece, and I was like, no, I never went. Then like it's some like little Eurobasket website that keeps saying I'm signing all these different countries, and I'm like, yeah, I never even went over there. So like, I don't know what y'all are talking about. So I've had to answer those questions plenty of times, but yeah.
Yeah, because I was trying to do a little research the other day after we talked, and I saw that you signed, and then I was like, all right, let me go look on Pro Ballers. I couldn't find anything. I was like, what the hell's going on? And then, I don't know. But I recently had John Octius on. He's over in Japan as well right now, and I mean that was one thing that we talked about was guys not getting paid. I mean that was pretty shocking to me, but then again, it isn't because. I've had a lot of overseas guys on, and I mean they talk about how there's not really a regulation to police that, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is my first time overseas, so I think my situation is literally perfect. Like I came into a situation where we have a nice training staff, nice facilities. I mean, great location. I'm right here I live in Shinagawa, which is, if you know anything about Japan, like I can catch a train ride to Shibuya and it's like 25 minutes. Like I'm right in the middle of the city, nice area. I get paid on time. I mean, like I have no complaints. So I'm very grateful and thankful for that. But I know some guys that have been through everything and it's been a struggle. So I understand that exists out there, but I unfortunately haven't had to deal with none of that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, aside from that, I'm glad to hear that you've kind of been doing well, and they've been taking care of you. I mean, how's this lifestyle been for you? This being your first year.
I remember when I first came, like obviously the travel here was pretty long. It took me about like a full like 25 hours to get over here from when I woke up to when I actually got off the plane. And because of the COVID restrictions and all that, we had to quarantine for 2 weeks. And I swear that first week, I probably didn't see the sun. I'm sitting in the whole like Japan lifestyle, like the apartments and stuff are small. Like my apartment is small, but they say I have a bigger apartment compared to everybody else. And I'm like, Jesus, I don't know how y'all do this, but I've gotten used to it. I do different things. Like, back at home, I drive my car everywhere, but here there's no need to have a car. So they gave me a bike and I love riding my bike. I ride the bus. I mean, ride the bus, ride the train. Just a lot of different things. I live in the suburbs back in the States. This is a whole different change going to a city like this, especially being in like the largest city in the world. So, it's a whole different change, but I think I've adjusted well. Just at first, it was definitely like a culture shock at first, from quarantine for 2 weeks to then coming out and boom, like you're the only like tall Black guy walking around the street. Like, what I'm saying? Like we kind of stick out. So, but I'm used to it now and it's not too bad.
Yeah. What's that like being, like you mentioned, the only tall Black guy walking around and you're just like literally looking over everybody?
Yeah, I think they kind of, people out here kind of know like what I'm here for. Like it may sound weird, but like I kind of messed up, but I think they kind of know what I'm here for. The area I live in is right near the gym. So I guess people can kind of put two and two together, especially when I wear my team gear. But you still get some people here now that you'll catch staring, and then like you'll look at them and like, okay, I see you staring, and they'll continue to stare. So like it's kind of just like you just gotta kind of roll with it. It's not too bad, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, even though I know it's tough sometimes being an overseas guy. I mean, being away from your family and not knowing the culture, like you mentioned. But I mean, how much of a blessing is it for you to see the world, get paid, and play the game you love?
I can't ask for anything better, man. To be honest with you, I took a year off. I didn't play the COVID year and all that stuff. So I spent plenty of time with my family. Maybe too much time with them. And it was fun while it lasted, but this is what I want to do. So, I've been doing pretty well. I think the biggest thing is the time difference kind of throws it off. But so like my nighttime is my family's morning time. So I have like a small window of time like every day to like kind of catch up with them and see what they're doing. But I think I've adjusted well. We kind of have a good little rotation going on. But yeah, overall, I mean, I'm very blessed and I'm thankful for the opportunity.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, I know this obviously this is your first year and you're kind of going through this year, but I mean, would Japan be somewhere that you'd want to stay for the long haul?
Absolutely. That's why I came here. If you go to Europe, it depends on where you're starting at and kind of like where you like plan on going. The track to move up in Europe can take a long time to make like some real good money. But over here, if you do what you got to do, you can, progress pretty quickly, make more money, and then, not have to deal with some of the other things that people say happen in Europe. Because in Japan has a different reputation playing over here, especially with like getting paid on time and just living conditions and coaching staff. Like it's a whole different like brand over here compared to Europe. But I think both are great opportunities. You just have to go to the right place. So when I talked to my agent about coming out here, he was like, "Listen, this team wants you to sign with them. It's a good team, good opportunity for you. You should do it." So I'm very happy with it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I've heard nothing but great things about Japan and the guys that have gone over there to play. I mean, it was a little surprising to me just because I wasn't really familiar with that. I mean, with the leagues over there and everything like that. But I mean, everyone I've talked to seems to absolutely love it over there.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you, it's very nice. And Japan is it'll change your mindset about America. Let me just put it that way. It's very clean here, very respectful people. A lot of things you deal with it back home, you don't deal with over here. So I like it.
Well, I mean, all right, you got to talk about that. I mean, what things do you have to
Okay,
do
so
here that you don't have to deal with there?
I think it's just like a much safer place. Like when you look at Tokyo, you're gonna obviously compare it to New York City, and it's a whole different ball game. Like over here, I think so. I've been here I've been out of quarantine since like September, and I traveled around a little bit, went through the city, went shopping, and I've seen only like 2 or 3 homeless people this entire time. It's like really rare to see homeless people. But back home, like you're almost numb to it because you see them everywhere you go to New York. It's a little dirty outside. Like they clean. I guess they clean up everything here on a different level. Like even when you go to the gym, back home, you walk in from the outside, walk on just like the little court or whatever you're playing on with your outside shoes. They don't do that here. You get to the door, you take your shoes off, you walk on the court with your socks, and then you put your basketball shoes on. It's not, you know what I'm saying? You do practice, workout, whatever you got to do. So I think just overall they're very clean here and it's very safe. Like I've had friends and teammates lose something, and then a week or 2 later they have everything back, like their wallet back the exact same way with all the money in there, cards, like nothing was stolen. Like the police picked it up. Like I have this thing called a pocket Wi-Fi, where I don't have a Japan phone, but I have a pocket Wi-Fi that connects to whatever servers is out here. So I left it on the train one day, and I'm out there freaking out. I'm like, man, I gotta get it. I ran back on the train because it's out of service and I couldn't find it. So within like a 10, 15 minute window, they already picked up my pocket Wi-Fi, took it to the police, and like had it set to the side for whenever I was ready to come get it. So I was like, it's different. I feel like back at home, when you lose something like that, it's over for you. But
Yeah.
it's a lot safer, and it's easier to get your stuff back.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that is super cool to hear. Just I mean, you leave something somewhere, it's gone. You ain't never seen that again.
Mm-hmm.
Especially here. But I mean, I like talking or hearing about kind of the culture over there, just with the fans especially, because I mean, we're kind of shitting on Europe a little bit, but I mean, those European fans are crazy. Because I've heard stories about people throwing pipe bombs on the court and trying to stop the game and everything like that. But over in Japan, it's kind of off topic, but I'm a big UFC fan. So I mean, back in the old days with Pride, they used to like clap whenever someone would like pass guard or like advanced position on the ground. And I mean, over here in the States, just for perspective, I mean, they're booing when guys are on the ground sometimes. So I mean, the difference between the fans and their kind of mindset is fascinating to me.
Yeah, like we said, I never played in Europe, but I've heard good things about them and bad things about the fans. So I'm gonna leave that alone. That's for the people that played there, been there. I can't relate to it. Never seen it, but Japanese fans are they're nice. I think sometimes it's like they come to the games just to get out the house and just purely enjoy a good event. They may not even really know what's going on sometimes, but they always gonna come out there and support. And yeah, they'll be there and then support their team.
Mm-hmm. And then I wanted to talk about kind of the opportunities that basketball has brought you, especially now being a pro overseas. I mean, first of all, talk about your Take What's Mine brand, your clothing line that you have.
Okay, so that was something I started. I remember my sophomore year at Georgetown. I was kind of just laying there, and I was like, I see everybody with these little hashtags. Like, I gotta come up with something that I like and like really would like stick with me. So I always would post like hashtag TWM under my pictures, and people would ask me, "What does it mean?" And I would be like, "You have to guess it in order to figure out what it is." So some people got it, but a lot of people were just kind of like mysterious and like trying to figure out like, man, what does this really mean? So fast forward to the pandemic. I'm in the crib. I'm like, yo, I got to do something. I got to find another way to make some money, like separate from basketball, separate from anything, like something that I want to do for myself. So I started working on a brand. Me and my girl, she helped me out with building the website and kind of putting everything together and bringing it to life. And here we are.
Mm-hmm. And then for people that don't know, just talk about like what it is, and what's on there and how you can get there as well.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm really into fashion. I like clothes. I like dressing up. And so I thought it would be cool to make my own, kind of like brand of clothing, my own unique designs, and just kind of reflect what I've been through in my own thoughts and put it into clothing that I think everybody would kind of like. So I have a website that we're revamping the website right now, launching it back next week. And we got an Instagram page at TWM Official. And you can find everything on my page. Is everything linked up, so that's no problem. But yeah, I'm very excited. I did my first drop over the summertime, or right before the summertime, and then I had to take some time off and kind of get those orders. There's a lot of bumps in the road when it comes to doing this thing on your own, but I really enjoy it. So we got everything in order now. We changed a couple of things and about to launch again for the wintertime. So very excited.
Mm-hmm. No, if you like fashion, are you a fan of like all the crazy dresses and stuff that like Russell Westbrook and all that stuff? And all those guys wear.
Yeah, I think fashion is what you make it. I think somebody that kind of like looks at somebody else and is like, that's not fashion. Like you can't really do that. Like, that's their own vibe, not for me. But I can see, wear that's what I want to wear. But I like clothes in general. Like when I leave to go somewhere, I like to look nice and well put together. I have like at least one thing that I have on. Someone's like, man, what is that? It's nice. That kind of makes me feel, good inside. And like that's what I like to do. So I wasn't always like this. When I was younger, I liked stuff, but I didn't know how to take care of it. So I could never really get nice things. My mom was like, no, I'm not buying you that because you're gonna mess it up. So now that once I got some money, I was like, I'm gonna start doing this myself and putting things together. And that's kind of how it came about.
Mm-hmm. I do like seeing guys get into fashion, or you guys can get into basically anything, obviously, but I like seeing guys that kind of get into fashion or retail or anything off the court to kind of to be more than just a basketball player.
Mm-hmm. I think it's so important because our whole lives, like we've dedicated so much time and energy to the sport of basketball that I think a lot of times you don't really take time to figure out what else you like, Mm-hmm. And I think once you become a pro, like all you do is play basketball and it's a couple hours a day and you have like this whole rest of your day, like what are you going to do with it? And it makes no sense to just kind of sit there and be, I'm just going to be in the house or just going to be doing this. Like, no, do something else, challenge yourself because you never know when the ball going to stop bouncing. So figure out some other things you like to do that make you happy as a person because you are more than a basketball player. And for me, my brand is just one of those things I do.
Mm-hmm. It's super special to see all the guys kind of chasing their passions and doing things like that. But for you, do you have, this is something I talked about with John Octies, do you have something that you kind of have a passion for that maybe you'd want to do when your career is over, like you mentioned, and Do you think that you'd start exploring in that while you're still playing?
I actually just was talking about this with the other import players on my team, maybe like 2 days ago. We were just talking about what are we gonna do once after basketball, and like they're a little bit older than me, and they both were like, "Yeah, I'm doing this, and doing." And I'm like, "Man, that's nice. I'm not there yet. I'm not sure exactly what I'm gonna do." But my mom, she worked in television pretty much my whole entire life, so she would always tell me like, "I think you'd be really good with like commentating sports," and I was like, I don't know, like. I don't know if I really want to do it. And then the more I've been watching college basketball, especially BTN Plus, listen, man, I like them a lot. I understand what they're trying to get done, but I see what they're doing on the platform, and I feel like I can do that better right now with no training. So that type of thing kind of made me think like maybe it's something I want to actually try one day, because I love sports, I love talking, and I think with the right type of training and right experience, I think I could do really well in that. So that's something that I just recently thought about doing. I think it'd be fun, and I'm not sure what I got to do to get into that area, but I think my tweets might kind of open people's eyes and maybe like get the ball rolling a little bit.
Yeah. Oh my. I mean, it sucks that we have to watch on BTN Plus for some of the non-conference Big Ten games, because I mean, the two I think they're kids that they had on the Purdue game, the opener. They sounded like they were 16 and they didn't really know what they were doing. And I mean, I don't want to hate on people for following their dreams to do what they love, but it's like, yeah, like get someone like you out there. And I mean, I saw when I followed you last night on Twitter, that's the first tweet I saw, and I was like, oh yeah, BTN Plus.
Yeah, I have so many different like opinions about what they need to improve, and there's nothing wrong with like going up there and not being the best commentator. It's just like anything. Like if y'all can comment about how I play basketball, I missed all my shots that night, and I just gotta sit there and take it. Of course, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna see that. I may not address it publicly, but that's gonna be going through my mind the next game when I'm in the gym. Like they was talking about this and make my shots. I think the same type of attitude will be good for me. Let's say I go on BTN Plus and I say some things and people are like, "What is he talking about? Like, come on, Copeland, da 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 da." I wouldn't go home and be like, "Oh my gosh, why are they hating me?" I'll be like, "Okay, let me get better at my job." So I think everybody should be able to do that. If you're in a public eye, you got to be able to take criticism and get better at whatever you got going on, because you're on the platform, so you have no choice, honestly. It comes with the territory.
I mean, I don't know if this is true or not, but like if anyone's coming at you for anything that you've been saying, I mean, I don't know why they would, because like you said, if you're in the public eye, you're putting yourself out there for the hate and the criticisms, the positives, all that. And I mean, college basketball players know that better than anybody. I mean, I'm sure after a game, maybe a tough loss, you guys get blown out or whatever the case may be. I mean, you got some bad tweets coming your way.
Oh, definitely. I have plenty of stories. I remember, I forgot what had happened. It was this one guy that works in Nebraska, and I would always see him around. And I was like confused because like he was always like talking bad about me, but then like he would see me in person and like, never really say anything. And I was like, I really want to like address this, but I don't want to like make it too hot because I don't really know him personally. But I didn't know like his job was to kind of like talk about the other side of our team and not always be positive to everybody else. But he used to kind of get under my skin sometimes. But eventually I got used to it, and like whenever I saw him, I kind of would just give him like a little look and leave it at that.
I mean, yeah. I write for Hammer and Rails, which is Purdue sports blog. I try to keep my things positive, but obviously sometimes you have to go negative. It's just into the game. But I try not to attack the players. I just say like the team or whatever. But I mean, how many experiences did you have with fans that were coming at you after games and things like that?
Not many, honestly. I think fans for the most part like me. Only time I could say I went through that was when I was at Georgetown. I was injured and I had my back issue, but I was still out there playing. Nobody knew what was going on because we kept it like behind closed doors or whatever, but fans were killing me. And I mean, rightfully so. I was playing terrible and I was supposed to be doing this, that, and the third that year, and I was just not doing it. So yeah, they let me have it pretty much every time I played bad. But fast forward to when I come back to Nebraska, the whole little BTN documentary comes out. all those same people were like, well, we had no idea. And I was like, yeah, I know you didn't, but it's okay. Like, I understand. Like, I had to sit there and go through that when I went through rehab, went to practice, when I went through all these changes, all these events. That was what fueled me to, get back on the court and do better than I ever have done. So, yeah, I ended up thanking them for that, honestly.
And I wanted to talk about your journey in college basketball.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, going back to recruiting process, I mean, what is it like to be a top 25 guy coming out of high school? I mean, dominating at Brewster Academy, and then, I mean, your recruitment just blowing up.
It kind of happened so fast. I didn't really have time to like enjoy it. It was very annoying, honestly. When I look at it, I can't remember a certain event or a certain thing that really kind of like took my recruitment off. I just remember like one day I started getting like a lot better, and I don't know. I just kind of, whenever I played against a player that was ranked, I was like, I want to kill him, and that's the only way I'm gonna get on the list and move up. So every time I played someone higher ranked than me, anytime I went to a camp, I was like, I got to do my thing so I can walk away with, this write up, this, that. I need that to move up. So it used to really fuel me. And then once I got it, I mean, you go to Vegas and you play good, you get offers from teams that you never even talked to before. Just because one school offers you, you have like 3 other schools in that same conference just be like, hey, we want to offer you a scholarship. We're just meeting you, but we want to just go ahead and offer you now. And I'm like, this is annoying, man. I don't like talking on the phone like that. So me having to answer the phone, they didn't go through the same conversations and all that all the time was just weighing on me. So I was like, I'm ready to get this over with. So I went ahead and committed to Georgetown, and yeah, that was pretty much it.
And I mean, excuse me. I mean, what was it like to be a part of that rich culture? I mean, you have legends like AI, John Thompson, Ewing, all those guys. I mean, what was it like to be a part of that culture?
It was great. I really loved it, especially the fact that they still would come back and talk to us and see us. I mean, Allen Iverson was my favorite player growing up. So I remember my mom met him when I was like in elementary school, met his mom, and she was like, yeah, he's really cool. And I was like, well, I have to meet him one day. Fast forward to when I'm in college, I finally get to meet him, and I'm like, man, this is amazing. Like, I can't tell him he was my favorite player. I didn't want to like sound like a little groupie or nothing like that, but I'm sure he's a lot of people's favorite player, and he knows it. And he's a really down-to-earth guy, so it was great to meet him. And other guys like Jeff Green, they would come back. Greg Monroe, they come back and play with us in the summertime, show us like what it's like to really be an NBA player, tell us the real about basketball. And yeah, so just having that environment was really good.
Mm-hmm. And did you feel that kind of, I mean, maybe it was pressure to perform just because you're part of that, that part of that culture that, I mean, they expect greatness?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a little bit, but I liked it because I like environments where it's like you have to come in like you're expected to do things, because it makes like what you do every day like worth it. Like I'll compare it to like when I was in Nebraska, nobody knew what we was gonna do, and that was kind of fun in a different way because we were just gonna surprise people because we know what we have and nobody else has any idea. Like, who would have thought we would finish 4th in the Big Ten that year? Like, nobody would have thought that. Like, the best school record in history. But I remember we was talking about what we wanted to do that season, and then I remember at first it was kind of like, man, that's a high goal, but once we started playing, I was like, this is a deep team. Like, that's probably the best team I ever played on in college that year in Nebraska. But comparing it to when I was at Georgetown, like every year they're expected to do big things just because of what they did 20, 30 years ago. So that just comes with the territory.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, I knew of you when you were in the recruiting process and went to Georgetown, but I mean, you really caught on my eye when you came to Nebraska, because I'm a Purdue guy, so I follow the Big Ten, and unfortunately, you had the game on my boy Isaac Haas, and but I mean, what was that transfer process like, and what stood out about Nebraska for you?
So the real reason I went there was because the coach that recruited me to go to Georgetown, Kenya Hunter, he had left my senior year of high school and went to Nebraska, and I was already signed. I think I was about to sign my national letter of intent and all that. And he just like called me one day. I was like, I want to let you know up front, like, I'm not gonna be there. I think you should still go there, but if you change your mind, I'm gonna be in Nebraska. And I was like, man, like I didn't really understand it, what it was really gonna be like not having like that one guy recruited you the whole time, not be there. But when it was time for me to transfer, he was the first one to call my phone and be like, hey, this is our chance again. Let's do this the right way. So yeah, we made it happen. And it was very quick because I entered the transfer or whatever. It wasn't even a portal back then. I just decided to transfer halfway through the year. So it was like December, and then the next semester started in January. So I had to go from back home for like a week or so and then go right to Nebraska. I visited and I was like, yeah, I like it, let's do it. And I was on campus going to school. So yeah. And Nebraska wintertime is awful, man. I knew it was gonna be bad, but like it was completely different from Georgetown. Like Georgetown was a small school. I could walk to class in like 5 minutes. Nebraska, I was not as close to my classes. It was snow and ice on the ground. And like to me, I see that I'm like, I'm not going to class. So like the first couple days, they was like, "Why are you not in class?" I said, "Do y'all not see what it's like outside? I'm not going there." And I was like, "No, you have to go." So I had to get over that and be like, "Give me a nice big winter coat." And yeah, it was a quick change, but I'm very happy with my decision to go there. I wouldn't change it for the world.
I mean, hey, these Midwest winters they're no joke. It's snowing here in Indiana. That's where I'm at.
Right now?
Mm-hmm.
No way.
Already, yeah. I mean, it's not like a bunch, but it's little flurries, and I'm like, God damn, I don't want to deal with this already.
Yeah, I had in college I had this old Cadillac. It was like a 2004 like CTS. I love that car, but it was not ready for that winter time. Every time I go out there, I started up for like 20, 30 minutes. It was just starting getting hot. Then sometimes it would just cut off because it was so cold and it was an older car. I was like, man, this is rough. Like, but yeah, Nebraska winter time is something I'll never forget.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you mentioned that success that you guys had finishing fourth in the Big Ten that year. I mean, you guys were slept on. I mean, I think you guys beat Purdue that year. You guys beat a lot of guys.
We did. We lost. No, we played y'all one time that year. It was at your place. The game I dunked on Isaac Copeland. It was that game. It was down by like 18 at that point. So it was kind of irrelevant dunk, but yeah, you guys beat us bad that year.
I was thinking you guys beat us at Nebraska one of those years.
That was my sit-out year. So I remember I went and watched the sit-out game. They had Caleb Swan again and all of them that year. And I don't know how y'all did not win that game, honestly, because that Nebraska team was not that good. But yeah, that was the year. But the next year when I played, we lost to you guys.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, regardless, you guys were pretty loaded, and
yeah.
not a lot of teams or fans or media or whatever gave you guys the respect that you probably deserved. And then you guys finished fourth in the Big Ten. What was it like to prove those people wrong?
We partially proved them wrong. I'll put it like that. But I think we knew we were built and capable of, because it wasn't too many teams that were as deep as us. And like one of us could have an off night and the other one would just pick it up. And it's just like across the board, that team was actually like crazy. Like we were on FaceTime, like group FaceTime with some of my teammates from that year. And I think out of like 15 guys or whatever, I don't know what the maximum is, but like every single scholarship player on that team is a professional right now. And you really, like, not every school can do that. That's they're playing overseas, G League, NBA. We had, Isaiah Roby get drafted. Like, it's a lot of different things that we had on that team, and it was really exciting. But I think kind of going back to your point about Georgetown being the having the culture and the expectations to do good every year. If we would have had that culture and expectation at Nebraska, we might have gotten to the NCAA tournament. But I think they saw everything that we did as like a fluke, and I was like, man, like, what we did speaks for itself. Like, that's a really good team we have. We still didn't make the tournament. Like, I think we're the first team ever to finish top whatever in the Big Ten, only have 5 losses and not make the NCAA tournament. So I remember us watching the Selection Sunday, and like we didn't make it, and like it was the quietest room I've ever been in my life. They had cameras in there, and like it was like when we found out we didn't make it, the little GoPro fell off the wall. It was like a scene of a movie. It was just like, dang, like it's really not happening. And like they was talking about NIT, and it was like, we don't even play in the NIT. Like, we were pissed off. We were so mad, like, because we did all that stuff, all that work, and all we wanted to do was be the first team at school history to go to the tournament and win a game. So that was kind of like what we was all brought there to do. So that's like missing that mark really, really stung for a while. So that's why I say I think people were wrong, kind of partially, but at the end of the day, looking back, like that was the most fun I had with basketball.
Well, I mean, for the sane people, you proved them wrong. I mean, because man, these like selection committees, we're seeing it with college football right now. I mean, some of them don't know what the hell they're doing. and they make the dumbest decisions ever. Like some of the decisions they make makes no sense to me at all.
Yeah, I mean, I heard it's like a lot of politics that go into the whole selection committee thing. Like it was some guy that's like a president or something that works at Creighton that was like in direct like contact with like or like had like a direct impact on us making the tournament or not. And I was like, if you're gonna put us in that position, you know they're not gonna put us in there. And like we had to do literally everything perfect, and we're kind of like on that borderline the whole time. So if it really came down, push came to shove, I knew you get somebody like that to power, we're not making the tournament.
Mm-hmm. And I know we went over time, so I apologize for that. But I just had a couple of last questions for you. I mean, which conference do you think had the better atmosphere across the entire league, the Big East or the Big Ten?
Big Ten easily. And I say that because every school is like in the college town for the most part. I mean, I think Ohio State was the one that's like the most kind of like in a regular city, like regular atmosphere, and even Ohio State was crazy. So Big Ten easily, not even close.
Mm-hmm. And then, I mean, hardest guy that you had to guard?
Lamar Stevens, definitely him. Penn State, he got the ball a lot, and I think every time we played, we definitely went at each other every time. It was fun, so I liked it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Penn State's got some guys that they sleep on, or people sleep on.
Yeah, Lamar Stevens definitely slept on. He in the NBA now. He's stuck. Mm-hmm. It's like his second year in the league, or third year in the league now. So happy for him. And my boy Josh Reeves, we played our first year out in G League together. We became really close, and we knew each other a little bit from high school. So I'm glad to see him doing well. I think he's overseas right now. Trying to think who else they have at Penn State. Like
Tony Carr.
Oh yeah, Tony Carr got drafted. And they had Mike Watkins. What's his name? Mike Watkins.
The big guy center.
Yeah. He always gave us problems, and I think he's a really good player. So I think there was a good team. They just didn't really their record didn't really reflect how good they really were.
Mm. And then, I mean, last question. I mean, do you have a game or stretch or moment that sticks out as most memorable to you from your college career?
Oh, that's a tough one. A game or a stretch? Kind of might be like I have a couple different like events, like a couple different games I liked a lot. Going to Georgetown, we played on the road when I was at Marquette. We played Marquette on the road, went to overtime freshman year. Hit like a big floater to kind of give us the lead. And that was a big moment for me, confidence booster. That same year I hit a game winner against Butler. So I guess I was like I hit the game winner against Butler the rest of the year. I kind of I forgot what my numbers were, but like overall I averaged like 6 points that year, but during that time I was averaging like 17 or something like that. So I was looking like really good. I was playing well. Yeah, it was fun. And I kind of gave me the confidence to be like, okay, I really deserve to be here, because it took me a little time to get adjusted to college. I was skinny. I didn't really know where I fit in, and our team was loaded. So I kind of was like, I need to step it up. I want to play, and I eventually did. So yeah, I think that's probably the most memorable stretch I had in college.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I certainly liked watching you play, except for when you were DMing on Haas's head. But I mean, I'm going to wrap this up, but I mean, thank you so much for coming on. It was truly an honor. First time I had a Nebraska guy on as well. So
really?
Yeah. Thank you for that.
Talk to more of us, man.
Huh?
Talk to more of us, man. We're some pretty good guys.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, best of luck going forward this season. Best of luck with your brand as well. And stay safe and good luck the rest of the year.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. You too.
Yes, sir.